Oh, let's see, I'll volunteer to make the pledge of allegiance first. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Simon, will have you read minutes of the previous meeting, please.
February 4th, 2020. The regular meeting of the Franklin Town Board was called to order at 6:09 p.m. by Supervisor Jeff Taggart. Present were Jeff Taggart, Garrett Sitz, David Grant, Donnie Smith, Dwight Bruno, Paul Warner, and Mark Lang. The minutes were read from the January 7th, 2020 meeting. Dwight Bruno made the motion to accept the minutes as read. David Grant seconded the motion. All present agreed. Mark Lang reported that the excavator balance of $42,000 had been paid in full. The issues with the new building project were discussed. It's still moving forward. Delhi Telephone will be installed at both town buildings on February 13th. There will be 3 voice lines in the village and 2 voice lines at the garage. Eventually, there will be a general Town of Franklin number with a general announcement. The question was asked if there were any statistics on the roundabout in North Franklin. Mark said that there had been no accident calls since it was put in. David Grant made the motion to go into executive session at 6:30 to discuss assessment litigation. Dwight Bruno seconded the motion. Return from executive session at 7:17. With nothing further discussed, the meeting was adjourned.
Any additions or corrections? A motion?
I'll make a motion.
Dave made the motion, second.
I'll second.
Dwight, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Okay, Dwight, is there anything from the Franklin, the federal Kellogg Fund or any, no meetings? You have any?
No meetings, the next
Okay.
meeting, official meeting will be in April. Other than
Okay.
that. And it was, I don't know who brought the cookies and the cake, but whoever it was, anybody in the gallery here? Graham?
You can thank
All right. He's back there, Pete Murley. He stayed up all night to get the cookies and the cake.
me. Thank you, Pete.
But I'm sure it was somebody in the Treadle community that was nice enough to do the cookies and the cake. It wasn't me.
It wasn't you?
I've had a couple cookies.
Oh, okay. You tested them, okay.
They're all right.
Okay, good, good. Well, we have a group tonight from the Bainbridge Lions Club, which is Bob Evans, my brother Pete Taggart, and Pat McCann. And the, I guess, overseer from the state.
I am the district governor.
District governor, yes, for the Lions Club. And they'd like to do a presentation on the possibility of a satellite Lions Club in Franklin, or, to get growth. I'll let you do the presentation of what's going on and how it works and everything. Bob or whoever.
Okay, I'll start. So, as Jeff mentioned, my name is Bob Evans. I'm with the Bainbridge Lions Club, and a couple of our members here, Pat and Pete, and we have our district governor, Dave Hubman, with us tonight. So, the purpose of our being here tonight is would like to start a branch Lions Club in Franklin. So, I don't know how many of you know anything about Lions Clubs over 100 years? Anybody know anything about Lions? You got one in Walton, right? One in Downsville, one in Oneonta, I think are the closest one. Know anything about Lions?
You come to Head Start and test all the kids for vision.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, that's one of our proudest things. One of the activities that we have taken on as our club is the Lions C program, where we do vision screening in the schools. And Lori, when she was a nurse, I think Downsville came in and did that.
Yes.
Lion Pete is in charge of our Lions C program, and I think did over 1,000 kids this year.
Just over 1,000 students.
And generally 10 to 12, sometimes as high as 15% of the kids are referred for further action. And we've talked to, you know, the nurses and the teachers, and they say, I would have suspected that so-and-so had a problem, but other ones, they say, they never would have guessed it. And this is a very simple thing. It's a camera, and it takes.
The camera takes an infrared picture of the child's eye. The nice part about it is the kids don't need to do anything, so it works especially well with, you know, students who have special needs, kids that are, you know, are real little kids that, you know, are preschool kids that aren't verbal, that can't articulate well enough. It takes a picture of their eyes, and it does screen more than what your nurses screen for. Your nurses basically screen for 20/20/20/30 vision. The eye screeners that we use can detect glaucoma, nearsightedness, farsightedness, stigmatisms, and things like that. And it simply makes a recommendation for the parents to go and seek further things with their eye doctors. And there's a nice little form that comes. They can take right to their eye doctor, so the eye doctor knows, you know, what this thing is looking for. So we do it all over the country. Our district, which runs from the Binghamton area all the way up to Watertown and Cape Vincent, we're increasing the number of kids. I belong to the Rome Lions Club. We've screened every child in the Rome elementary schools, which is over 2,000 kids. So it's and the folks that do it out of passion. I mean, it just, you know, you connect with those kids, and if you can, you know, save a child's eyes, or, you know, get them the help they need before they fall too far behind in school, you know, with their vision, that's a huge part of what we do as Lions.
So Lions have been around for a while. I think
103. We are in our 103rd year. Is a 103rd year is an association. 100th year as an international association. We have clubs in 240 countries. We have over 1.4 million Lions in the world. So it's the largest service organization in the world. So we're here to see if we.
And I think it did start out focused on vision.
Yes, Helen Keller came to one of the very first conventions, which was in, I believe, Houston, Texas, and was the keynote speaker at the convention, and she asked the Lions to become her Knights of the Blind, to help. And the Lions were big into, you know, with lots of money into research, and really have made strides forward in the treatment of vision issues. Since then, we've expanded into childhood cancer, diabetes, the environment, hunger, vision. I think that's the 5. So when you see Lions, you know, when I'm walking down the street or in a store or something, they'll say, "Oh, you're from the Lions Club? You guys do eyeglasses." So we still are well known for that. And something as easy as putting a box in a doctor's office or a box in a library and say, you know, please donate your used eyeglasses, is huge, because we take those glasses to a distribution center in New Jersey. They package them up, they read them, they package them up, and they send them to third world countries. Some of the folks who are in high need in the United States receive eyeglasses. So that's one of our real big pushes, and something you can do in your community, and it doesn't cost you a nickel other than the gas it takes to go pick them up and drop them off. So.
Okay. So just a quick history on Bainbridge. We've been around since 1982 as a Lions Club, and we have 34 members right now. And we belong to the district that Lion Day oversees, and I think there's over 50 clubs.
51, just chartered our 51st club.
And kind of goes from the Pennsylvania border to
Canada.
Yeah. So the whole question is, why have a branch club? The reality is, if Franklin wanted to start a Lions Club of their own and charter that, they'd have to have over 20 people signed up as Lions. With a branch club, as few as 5 people, we can get a branch club started under the mentorship of Bainbridge. And that's why we're talking about having a branch club. In a lot of the rural areas, it's difficult to start right in with 20 people and get going there. So the branch club would have its own officers, its own budget, its own projects. They function to determine the needs of the community and what projects they want to take on. What else do we want to talk about? So, you know, the Bainbridge Club's role would be mentorship. We would provide the guidance to the branch club. So some of the things that, just as an example of what we do in our community, and that's not to say these needs are the same in Franklin, but there's a lot of things that we do that don't require a lot of money to get off the ground here. We built picnic tables, we painted the firehouse, we painted up at Clinton Park, we re-roofed some buildings around the community. One of the big things we do is clean up of local cemeteries. It's a fun time, and seems to be pretty needed. We built wildlife viewing platforms, shade pavilions, we do a highway cleanup. We put garbage cans throughout the community, the village. Eyeglass recycling, we talked about that. We helped the fire department with their turkey night. We put up Christmas decorations. And we talked about the Lions Sea program. So all those things can be done and they don't cost a lot of money. But some of the things we do require money. So we have some fundraisers that our club has had success with a 4-wheeler raffle, golf tournament. We just had our first bowling tournament. What else? Over the years, we've sold brooms and we've sold light bulbs and we've had tractor pulls, and it's just a matter of what the community presents there. So, and you know, we do a lot of contributions to local organizations such as the food pantry and the library and all that. So, you know, basically that's what we came here tonight, is just to present the concept of a branch club in Franklin and to see if there was any further interest. We've had some communication with some people and wanted to get started with that. So that's why we're here. So I don't know if there's any questions.
Well, so your club in Bainbridge would actually oversee or assist, or whatever you want to call it, you know, the development of a...
Yeah. Up until the time if
Right.
the Franklin Club did get to the 20-member mark, they would get their own charter
Home charter, yep.
and take off on their own. So there's some holes here. You know, we talked about, you know, the Walton, Downsville, Oneonta, you know, Bainbridge. So there's some holes here that we think.
Treadwell and Franklin, possibly Unadilla,
Yeah.
you know, the area. Yeah. Okay, is there any questions for Bob?
Is it a good idea, bad idea? New concept?
Volunteers in general, it's getting harder and harder to find people to volunteer. I wear a different hat.
We noticed that.
And it is, and we have 20 members.
Yep.
And, but that doesn't mean maybe we could work something out that we could help participate. There may be, I could take it to Rotary sometime and ask them, because I have, you know, you fellas come up and talk to see.
We have a
And it
Rotary
kind of
Club
works.
in Bainbridge, and we kind of take on some complementary type projects. I guess, I don't know if it's right to classify us as a little more blue collar maybe than our Rotary Club.
Rotary Club.
But we've done projects with our local Rotary Club. We've had them to our meetings, and so.
And Franklin also, I mean, they have a very active, and we don't even try to rob their members because it's so important. The firemen and the EMP,
Yep.
whatever, emergency technicians.
So I guess the question to ask is there a need in the community? Are there needs in the community? Are there things that you can think of in this community here, in Franklin, Unadilla, that could use some support, some financial support, some manpower support, some of those kinds of things. I mean, are there needs in your communities? Are there holes? We talked on the way down about, maybe, the youth programs. Is there need for youth programs? Is there need for, do you have parks in your community that are just not the way they used to be? Where a little extra manpower could go in and, spruce things up. The cemetery seemed to be a bigger and bigger project for folks, because this is the third or fourth time I've heard of clubs in my visits that are going into their cemeteries because they just don't have the people to keep up with, with the maintenance, let alone the simple, the lawn mowing and things like that, So there's all kinds of things, and if you can think of those kinds of projects and say, it'd be really nice to have this, or it'd be really nice to be able to do this. That's where we can come in, and with 5 or 6, because your 5 or 6 are going to get support from the Bainbridge 30. I'm sure the Walton Club, the Windsor Club, the Oneonta Club. If we say, hey, we're trying to nurture a club here, they need some help with this, big fundraiser or this big service project they want to do. Those are the kinds of things that we'd be really excited about working with you
Well, I
folks.
think it's very important to have planted the seed, the availability, the thought of it now, and then we can see how it, hopefully it'll mushroom into something. But if we don't, I appreciate you very much coming, Bob, everybody coming, to at least plant the seed, and we can see where it grows. We can't promise anything, but I know my wife, she wants to get involved.
Need 4 more?
Okay, we need 3 more now. And maybe, and it doesn't, just, it's a volunteer thing. And it's something that, if we can try something, it'd be great. And as I said, this will get it out to more people, and maybe there is interest in it.
Do they still need help up to the cemetery up by us?
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, I don't know.
A lot of cemeteries.
There's a lot of cemeteries.
Is the town responsible for?
Yes.
Arabia.
Arabia's got one. I mean, there's you can't. 2 hands probably wouldn't.
Rotary-
A number of
You
cemeteries
guys
out
did
there.
some, didn't you?
We do the one by Sculptors, the half
Yep,
the cemetery
on the top,
on the hill,
yep.
which we maintain.
Yep. There's 2 or 3 in Franklin, in the village.
In the village, yeah.
Right in the
Behind the
village.
school, and behind the.
That are quote unquote abandoned, I guess, or whatever. But,
So,
that is probably a huge.
Joe actually did a lot of work on the one behind the firehouse. He really spent a lot of time.
And
And
But
I think he would
I
make a
echo
nice
what this gentleman said about, the volunteering becoming fewer and fewer and fewer. And the result of that is less and less things that used to just get done because there were people there to do it aren't getting done. And that's where, a new organization with some fresh blood and some energy can come in and do it. One of the things that our club has done is there's a program where if you collect plastic, 600 pounds of plastic, it can be plastic bags, it can be wrap that, where you're, the pallet wrap, things like that. 600 pounds of that, you send it in, and I think it's TVEC or something like that. They send you a bench. You for 600 pounds, they'll send you a bench. You can pick the color. It's all recycled. The bench is a recycled bench. You pick the color, you put it anywhere in your community, and you can start another 600 pounds. So those are some of the things you can do, and it doesn't cost you anything, but taking that, getting that somehow weighed into a local place like a Tops or someplace like that to send it in. So if you're interested, I'm sure I can get Bob the information and things like that. So
What does what would a Franklin offshoot of the one in Bainbridge have to do? What would be our responsibility as a?
well, you need 5 people to start a
Right,
branch
just
club.
like-
Okay, so once you agree to that, then we come down. You fill out we fill out a form. There is money involved. There is dues because you're part of an international organization. But part of those dues will cover $1 million liability insurance for you. So if you do a fundraiser where you're inviting people into that, or you're inviting people to come and help you for a fundraiser, let's say you're going to the cemetery. It doesn't cover the Lions because you're covered, but if somebody else comes in and somebody from the community gets hurt, that insurance will cover them. So that's a big part of it. You get to wear the Lions pin. Lions is known internationally, so those are the kinds of things. But you pick once you're organized and we get you started. You pick your projects. You pick your fundraisers, and you just go. If you need help, that's where you reach out to Bob and to some of the other folks around in other clubs to come and help you. But it really is as simple as finding 5 or 6 people who really want to make a difference and are willing to serve, and you let us know. We come in and we help you get you started.
Lions International is really good with the community needs assessment.
Yes.
And helping to determine what needs there are in your community. But nothing is quite like, talking to the school administrators, the firemen, the town board, merchants, people, just, what would you like, what do we need? But it would entirely be your activities, whatever you determine you felt the need for it. Just touch on the dues here real quick. We, in the Bainbridge Club, we charge a little bit more than what the actual dues are. We kind of have a fund, and we pay $40 for every 6 months. So
that's what our club charges, $80 a year.
Okay.
And is there an age minimum? Like, would high schoolers be welcome?
Yes, if they're 18. They have to be 18 to be a Lion. But there is a project of the Lions. It's called the Leo Club, which is for high school kids. So we have Leo clubs, we have Lions clubs, and actually I think they're starting a Cubs club, which is for little ones. But it's your club, so you have it the way you want it. I mean, some clubs are now, back in the day, it was men only, and you had to be a businessman in order to join. In 1987, they voted to allow women to come in, and your district governor next year is Rosemary Bush from the Pompey Club, so she'll be one of the first few women. Linda Mott from Deposit was a district governor, so there's lots of that. You can have a family where you can bring you bring the kids, and the kids do an activity, you guys do your business. However you want to set your club up. But to be a Lion, you have to be 18.
And if Franklin wanted to move forward with this, they would be the first branch club in...
You would be the first branch club in District Y.
So
And of course, we have a little party, we celebrate.
The Lions is a real fun organization. You do a lot of work, but you have a lot of fun doing it.
it is non-political. We don't allow any comments.
You bowled last week, right? You were there.
I attempted.
Did you have a good time?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
That was fun.
Yeah. As long as you kept it down the alley, it counted.
It was a true oddball tournament.
Yes, it
It was
was.
a lot of fun.
Even pins left, you got a strike. Odd pins, you got a spare. So it was better ball, you didn't get nothing, but that's beside the point. But it was fun. It was.
Well, thanks for allowing
Well,
us
thank you
to
for
come here.
the presentation, and hopefully this will generate interest, and we'll go forward with this, Bob, and we'll
Be in contact.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming to me.
Do you have a website or something where people can look up what you're all about that aren't here?
Yep. Good.
If you just Google Lions Clubs International, it'll bring you right to where you want to go. Okay, it'll bring you to this really nice front page, and then you can. There's a resources link where if you click on the resources and you type something in on the resources, you type in branch club, it'll bring up information on the branch club. So there's all kinds of information for you.
Contact information.
Do you have a card with you, Bob?
I do not.
Pat, do you have a card with you?
No, I didn't bring anything. I will also throw out there that the Bainbridge Club we've just got it going, it's not perfected yet. a Facebook page, because that's, that's the thing. And so we do have a Bainbridge Facebook, and that's what it is Bainbridge Lions Club. I will also point out that Bainbridge, Georgia has a Bainbridge Lions Club, so yeah, we're in Bainbridge, New York, but we have pictures, we have some little things about our activities. We have pictures from the Oddball bowling tournament, and pictures in the cemetery doing work, and we give out a lot of hot dogs, and there's pictures of us giving out hot dogs for like the Toys for Tots, or not Toys for, yeah, Toys for Tots training when it comes through. We do parades. What else? Oh, we do teddy bears. All the Head Start students get little ones get teddy bears at Christmas time from the Lions Club. So it's just fun to do fun things with our community.
There is one project that I neglected to mention. We haven't even started yet. It's on a drawing board as a zone project. We are going to be supplying bunk beds to kids that have been identified by the school as not having a bed to sleep in at night. And we're finding out that there's more and more than we ever dreamed, that these kids are not sleeping in bed. So we're trying to get some grant money to go along with our own local monies, and we're excited to see that one get kicked off. So we're out of here.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Okay. This past month, I've got a letter from the Hamden 1825 project. It says, for documenting 200 years of baseball in Delaware County. We were one of the first ones, I guess, July 12th of 1825. Baseball was played. It was called baseball at that point. And this individual, they want to make a book, write a book up and stuff. So if anybody's got any information about old-time baseball and stuff like that, they're looking for any information, from years past in baseball. And hopefully they'll kick that off. Okay, let's see. Mark, you have anything?
Yeah, I just got some small stuff. Just next month we do our bids, be for the fuel, truck, and calcium, and I want to put in there for gravel again this year. We didn't do it last year, so I'd like to do. We'll see about 10,000 yards, but we'll see where that goes. We'll see how the bids come in, and then we can figure out how much money we're going to spend on that. But, other than that, just fighting the weather, but it'll get better.
Okay. Any questions for Mark?
Mark, do you want to do a resolution for the broom to Rutland?
Yeah, we just gotta do that, rent a broom grader.
The broom's the same price. Got contacted today.
And you want that for the month of April?
Weather permitting, so.
Yeah.
30-day rental.
Same as we always do.
Yep.
Definitely get that in.
So you want that put in, probably be good right now, so you can get it lined
Yeah,
up.
get it in now.
So we have a
Last
motion
year we
to
did.
rent the broom again?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Yeah, we'll do the grader too, but last year we come in with a grader a little quicker because the weather broke a little.
So earlier or
May,
May?
1st of May at least.
Okay.
And we might not do that. I mean, it depends on the weather and stuff too,
Right.
but at least it'll be set up to go.
Entertain a motion to rent the grader on a monthly basis, starting sometime in May, probably, or
Yeah.
sometime. made the motion. Have a second?
I'll second that.
Floyd seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Okay. I guess you're here for a discussion again?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
I was told to come back.
okay, okay. Well, Garrett, you've been talking with them?
Fired up, Garrett. Darryl, you said you got a couple proposals? Well, there was some discussion regarding those two sheds beside the maintenance garage that you guys were talking about, or in discussions of demoing those and building a new one.
Well, we hadn't really discussed that. We were, at one point, we
So
talked
one of the
about-
proposals would be, we will tear those two buildings down for you. You sell us a little piece of property over on that side of the property, and you guys can take the money from the sale of the property and build you a new shed on the other side of the property, which that would open up a sight line for us, get us a little closer to the road that we're trying to get to. We think we can get Dollar General to approve that, but it all is going to hinge on whether you're willing to sell and let us demo those two buildings.
Right. I think probably the ice building wouldn't be able to be demoed.
Is that the bigger one or the
That's a smaller one.
Nobody's ever proved to me that that's
Historical or?
historical. Nobody's seen where it's registered or
It's
anything.
always-
Is that something you guys would be interested in talking about?
I think we should entertain it, and we'll go from there, yes. I think it's,
I did
You know-
work up,
The building's falling down, right, Mark? I mean, or the
the
roof?
single story.
Yeah.
we would pay to demo those buildings.
Right.
The ice house is too.
Pardon?
The ice house is falling.
Oh, that's falling down too, okay. Yeah.
The upper building definitely needs to go because to put the kind of money into it to fix it.
But I
It's
think
not
even
worth it.
with that location, and if you guys do agree to sell us a piece of property and let us demo those two buildings, we're still looking at that 1,000-foot rule, which is, we're gonna have to ask for a variance.
Right.
Obviously, it's gonna be a little further away than the one that we're looking at now, that we previously looked at.
Right.
But,
Well, I'm visiting, the Delaware County DPW, engineer's coming down Thursday morning to go over site distance. What we have for site distance, which is what you've gotta look at too, where they've
we've got the
got.
site distance, we've done all the measurements on that, it's that 1,000-foot rule, where you can't have a
Right.
commercial development within 1,000 feet of a residential.
Mhm.
You want to see, I worked up, that is what our first blush would look like.
How many feet do you have?
I've got a bunch of them. And I've got a couple of them without the area. So that's your garage, that's your
Right.
maintenance garage. You'd want to purchase that corner, basically.
Which corner are we talking about?
So we're talking about demoing these and purchase this from you. And you guys build your new shed over here on this side.
This is what they proposed to buy.
That would be our first blush. If you think we could get by with getting a variance. And we're down, we did some real screwed measurements here. If we did that, we would be 290 feet from the dwelling across the street, 460 feet from the dwelling down in that down here. So we're still, there's no way in the world we're ever gonna hit that tower.
What did you say the initial one was, 200? It's got footage, it's okay.
Yeah.
Do you have another look?
Right?
Do you have a different look than this?
Different look.
In other words, a different layout?
Well, this is just the first blush. This is what we think would work best for us. You guys give us your input and we can modify, move around. I mean, if you're even interested in talking about it. If you're not interested in talking about it and you don't think we can get the variance done, then
My personal opinion is, I mean, not to blow anybody's bubble, but that's not gonna work. I mean, that's gonna completely box,
You in?
and we could never make any provisions to build on for what we're gonna lose. That's my,
anything close to that would work for you? If we move the building back a little bit further? I mean,
What about
we're not
property up
obviously
on the
not.
hill?
I'm sorry?
What about further up on the hill?
The further that we get back down, what's the name?
It's the
21.
County Road 21.
21, the further we get down 21, the construction costs go through the roof. It's really hilly, so we're gonna have to build a 20-foot tall retaining wall on the backside of that property just to get it level enough for us to use. Those retaining walls, I mean, you're talking $70,000, $80,000 per retaining wall to get it to work.
Because I mean, I feel you need to be at least 500 feet from the dwelling.
From
And
any
the other part behind it is I feel the heart behind us buying that property more than anything else was we needed a buffer behind our existing buildings. Okay? Because our property line was very close. And we looked at the property once before, and they wanted an awful lot, and they dropped it dramatically. And with that, we jumped on it because we felt we needed the buffer behind our existing buildings, and we talked about pulling off 10 acres. So me, just only me, this is me speaking, but I feel that that 10 acres we bought for the purpose of protecting our situation.
That's what I was gonna ask, how much did you buy?
And with that, there's another 20 acres above that.
That's for sale.
And that's for sale.
That you don't own.
No, we own.
You
We
do
own.
own.
Yeah, town.
But that's on top of the hill.
Well,
Yes,
it
it runs
runs down.
Back up here.
Yes, that's correct.
Even further
But
away.
to compromise this 10 acres, for me, I'm uncomfortable with that. Otherwise, I'm willing to listen to what you got.
But you're thinking minimum 500 feet from any residential before you even consider or go through the
I
process.
think that's fair. I think it's kind of the protocol, right, Jeff, that's
That's
kind of been
That's
followed.
what you've done in the past.
That's what we've
Right.
done in the past.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
I don't
mean, a little
feel
variance from
comfortable
it.
bending
You're
from that.
talking-
No, I
you know.
understand.
You're talking-
That's all I'm asking for, just put
Tremendous
everything on the
difference.
table, let's see what we've got, if it works, it works, if it doesn't,
I
then
mean,
this-
we don't really have a say. It would have to
No, I
go through
understand.
variance, but,
Right.
you know, like on,
with some support from you, I think it would go a long way.
well,
and that-
500 feet, I feel that's what's fair because that's what we've done in the
Well,
Franklin.
that's what we've done, or it's been given in the past.
So I
Now, are you
think
guys working on trying to get that ordinance removed?
It's not gonna be removed, but
Just
I
reduce
think
it?
it's been talked of, reducing it to the 500-foot figure,
500 feet.
because that's what we've, to
That's
be
been the
honest with you,
standard that's been
even the
used.
county planner, I've been on planning before I became a board member, and I had no idea it was in there. And the county planner didn't have any idea that, you know, most of them have started
never
out
seen
at
it.
1,000,
Yeah.
and they have all gone to maybe the 500 feet.
I've never even seen 500 feet.
Okay.
I work in 39 states doing this,
Okay.
and I've never seen.
Well, the 500 feet is what we've been enforcing.
Okay.
And actually, in the hamlet of Treadwell here, we did go to 250 on some, just because of all the housing around, you know, the
Everything's so
500
close.
is, yeah, wasn't viable. But, you know, I agree with everybody else. Where you're proposing this,
Too close.
it won't work. It's just not viable.
So if we could get, if we could get this number to 500 feet.
Well,
That's 260 now, so
well,
we're.
see, you've got a resident here too.
Oh, is that a house?
Yes, that's a house
I
there
thought that was a
too.
business there.
No, that's a resident. Kenny Taylor's house on it, right in the Y. And then this is Kenny's new house over here.
Oh, I got you.
And he's trying to sell
So
that.
we're talking,
You're talking back in,
we're talking way out of range for us.
right, I
That
mean,
won't work for
oh, well, I mean, that's, you know, I mean, I understand, you know, I do appreciate, you know, seeing what it is, because I know what, it's been talked of, and I thought it was talked of back here, not actually.
Well, we did look at going back a little bit further away from this, and once we got putting numbers to it and seeing what the grades were back there, it's just, wow.
Makes it.
Really expensive, yes, very, very expensive. Almost doubles the construction cost.
Right. Yeah, which I, you know,
Obviously, we have budget limits, you know. We can spend a lot of money, but there is a cap.
yes, I understand it, and I thank you very much for coming and explaining what your, you know, thought was.
Well, they obviously want to be here, so we're giving it every try that we can to see if we can make it
I
work.
appreciate that fact. It's unfortunate we don't have as viable land as we thought we do.
Yes,
We
sir.
thought we did. But,
And you think if I went through the time and effort to go through a variance process for that first piece of property, you think that'd be a complete waste of time, don't you? There's no way it's
I
even
would
close
think
to
so.
500 feet.
I mean, you're right, I mean, if you were 400.
Well, it depends on how you measure it, because the rule that we read, it's hard to interpret exactly what they mean. Because whenever I first read it, I thought it was building to building. Now, I'd gotten some feedback from somebody on the board, I can't remember who it was, but it was, I was told it was property line to property line. Well, if it's property line to property line, we were like 82 feet away.
Yeah, all right, it was even worse.
Yeah, it was, there was no way it would ever work. Building to building, we were pushing 250, I think. But,
185 or, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was,
and, you know, that's a big difference from 1,000.
it is,
It's not as
no
bad
question.
from, not as bad from 500, but it's still,
It's
you
a long way.
know, tremendous variance.
Yes, you'd really have to want me to come.
Yes.
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 Understand.
And as I said, I appreciate the last meeting you came to, you know, and
Stirred a
this
lot of
one
people
here.
up.
Well, you know, I really do think, as, you know, that did stir people up, but it also brought a lot of people out thinking, you know, it wouldn't be such a bad idea.
I agree.
But it's gotta fit the spot.
As a matter of fact, we did get a lot of phone calls, a lot of emails after that meeting. People asking when we're coming. Why don't you come back? You at least got to try to do it. And,
Right. And
I mean, that's the only reason we're still hanging on.
Yes,
and
yes, and you know, I appreciate it, and your openness, I guess, is what, you know, of it. And I wish we had something that would fit better for you.
Well, we
But
will
this
keep our
site
eye.
is
Just not gonna work.
not a good spot.
We'll keep our eye on your town, and if anything comes up for sale, or we get some brilliant idea that we think we can make work, and we'll come back and try it again. But I
Yeah,
appreciate.
don't give up on us. Just,
No,
Just
certainly not.
deal, or, you know, work with us.
Try to get it to work, yeah.
Right.
We'll figure it out one way or another.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate everybody letting me
No, I
show you this
appreciate
stuff.
you taking your
Thank you.
time.
Thanks for the time.
Uh,
Hopefully I'll see you again.
Yes, yes. Drive carefully. I'm sure you drove a lot further than I did.
Yeah, you know, I was in the airport at 5 a.m. this morning in Nashville. You heard about the tornado? didn't you?
Yeah.
22 people died there last night. Nashville said that the tornado was on the ground for 10 miles.
Wow.
Luckily, it was north of me, but a lot of hail, a lot of big winds, trees down everywhere. It was a pretty big deal. But,
Tornadoes are worse than any hurricane.
oh, they're pretty scary. I'm very familiar with them. I've been down there all my life.
Okay.
I'd much rather have what you guys had than. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, thank you.
Take care.
You too. Okay, I do have from the Catskill Watershed Corporation, there's a election of board of directors. We've got petition here of people who are on, I guess, up for nominations. You may vote for three. There's 5 people. Joseph Setta is the supervisor from Walton. Carl Davis, supervisor from Middletown. Waylon Gladstone, supervisor from Andes. Mark Tuthill, supervisor from Delhi. And Tina Mole, supervisor from Bavina. And they would like to have the board, you know, it's got to be all notary too. Pick 3 and go from there and let it, see who, I guess, gets nominated or voted in. I work with all 5 of them. They're all good people. I don't know who the board would like to consider. Joe Setta, he's the newest one on the board of these people. He took Mr. Gregory's spot in Walton. Carl Davis is from Middletown. William Gladstone, he's a beef farmer now in Andes. He was a dairy farmer in Andes. Mark Hill was our code enforcement officer for years. He's got a garage in Delhi. He actually is a deputy chairman. And Tina Mole, she's supervisor from Bavina. She is our chairperson for the county. So I don't know who would wanna support or vote for, and then I can sign it and have Sonia notarize it and get it mailed back in. There. They're all supervisors. Pat Davis, Carl Pat Davis, he's very outspoken. He's got a lot of knowledge in the building trades and stuff like that.
So Jeff, you're talking about representatives from the
county, basically.
From the county to WAC.
To WAC, yeah, to the,
Watershed Ed.
to the watershed. The CWC, not CWT. This is CWC, which is, they just got to build a new office in Margaretville. So that's, so Catskill Watershed Corporation. And any town with 100 acres or more, which I'm not sure if Franklin qualifies. I'm sure Franklin qualifies as one of the towns, but I've got enough on my plate, so I have no interest. I guess you could put a write-in in there too, but no, thank you. But that's the ones that are running for it, I guess, and we can vote for 3 of them, or we don't have to vote for any of them. So, get this, I don't know, you'd like to.
Wait till I get them.
Okay, yep. Let's see. Amanda, have you got anything from Rick?
I
While they're
do.
looking over the paperwork?
I do. I don't have any paperwork.
No, well, they're looking over
Yes,
the paperwork.
absolutely. I was coming tonight because I just wanted to talk about the Youth Bureau positions. The town always, or historically, gets 2 positions, and we were just putting our feelers out to say we really appreciated the positions last year. I know the school was having some construction last year, so they didn't use their position, and the highway department gladly said, sure, take it at the pool. I did speak with Mr. Ziliaks at the school. He said there is going to be some construction again this summer within the gym. He didn't know how extensive it was. He would get back to me on their position with their youth bureau possibility. But I just wanted to put it out there that last year we did use the 2 at the swimming pool. We maxed out the amount of time and money that the Youth Bureau gives per position. So it was a cost savings of $4,500 for us. And, you know, we appreciated it, and we would welcome having both positions back next season.
Okay, when the county gets to putting out the forms and stuff, we'll get together. You have a change of mind on using the English mark? No. Okay, not right now. Okay, so you'd be available to, you know.
Right, it's March, I understand, but.
You know, between the village, they've used it some, and I think you shared with the village a little bit this year. You just used it for the lifeguards.
Well, we attempted to share with the village about doing some lawn mowing, but it never arose. I think the village had a transition with their maintenance person, so that was a little bit up in the air. And we're always open to that if lawn mowing.
The issue would be sharing it between the 3 parties.
Yes.
You know, because the village has used some of it before. The rec committee has, and the school has. So
correct.
Somehow we want to keep everybody working together.
Absolutely. And the other thing was we're getting ready for our letter campaign in March. The village mayor has written the letter for us, and we compile those letters and send them out through the tax roll. And last year we asked permission to gain that tax roll through Mr. Basil, because we tried to go through the county, and the gentleman that was in charge of that area just wasn't getting back to us. but Jim did, but with the knowledge that I came and asked permission to have that tax roll for the purpose of the letter campaign. And, you know, we have the existing one from last year, we would just be looking at any changes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, do we have a motion to allow Jim to give out the addresses for the mailing? Is that basically what you want?
Yes.
I make the motion.
I'll second that.
Wait. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Thank you.
Yep.
And the third thing I wanted to talk about was the Memorial Day Parade. Does anybody have any insight or knowledge who kind of organizes it? Who to talk to?
Steve Banks is
Kenny Taylor.
Saints Legion.
Right,
The lead.
Legion.
the Legion, okay.
Steve Banks, I think, is the leader of it right now. So he's-
Okay, all right. Just we wanted to get some kids involved in the parade. You know, show a little bit more of the community spirit and add to it. So we wanted to move forward with that. Thank you.
Amanda, how
Yes.
much you guys closed last year?
Closed at the pool.
Yeah.
I cannot give you a figure of how.
Roughly week, 2, 3. Because you had some breakdowns, right? Didn't you have some issues?
So at the end of the season, we did have some breakdowns electrically, and we couldn't keep the pumps on to maintain our chlorine levels. But we did not close until after Fair Week. So we were open from the last week of school through Fair Week.
So about 2 weeks compared to normal, because wasn't it normally that school starts, it kind of shuts down or they're not?
Yeah, we try to go as far as we can into August, but the attendance really drops after Fair Week. And it's very hard to keep lifeguards because some of them were college students. So we did vary our hours to make it more evening, more weekend, but then we ran into the problem with electrical issues and keeping the pumps on. So we
Not enough power for the pumps, or?
they kept tripping.
Age.
I don't.
Age?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just wondering, you know, if somebody could. Have you had
Right. So what happened was the pool company gave us some suggestions of people to call. We did so. They said we're more plumbers than electricians, and we had Kronauers had been out to look at it a bunch of times. They had fixed some. What were they inside that kept the heating elements where they got too hot and it pumped them off. I don't know what they're called, I'm sorry. So with the village maintenance transition over the summer last year, I think we just ran into a problem that we didn't have anybody that knew the pumps, that knew the system, because the village maintenance man by that time had retired. I don't know which, sorry. And we just kind of decided that it was, we were going to get into a problem with our chlorine levels, and it was getting costly to have an electrician come every day. So we closed, and we decided that this year we would be opening early anyway because of the soccer camp coming to Franklin, and that we would address it once the pool was filled and it was spring. So.
I mean, I hate to throw them under the bus either, but call Tiger Electric and maybe they could
Correct.
have somebody to look at it that
Yeah.
might know what,
And
the heaters and stuff.
Right, and it kind of was a gray area between just electric and just plumbing because it was swimming pool electric, so it really was.
Right, ground fault, it would be for safety. But, I would.
Yeah, reach out to some different, I understand, yeah.
I would reach out to them because they volunteered, they've given a lot to the town.
Mm-hmm.
Helping the town building out and stuff like that, it might be
Yeah.
And the next choice would be Chad, probably, right? Tiger Electric might be cheaper, they might,
Okay, yeah,
that's what,
we can move forward, we can put that call out just for some feelers for
Right.
May when we get down there and get back open.
Right,
But
just give them a little warning.
yeah, one of
Get
those,
some time.
one of those things that I didn't anticipate handling.
Right.
But
But it'd be better to put the feelers out now than to wait till everybody's lined up
yes,
other work.
yes. Or run into something big.
Right,
but-
right. Good.
And again, we've put our ads out, we've, about lifeguards, and we're moving forward with that. With our swim lessons and lifeguards, we've put some ads in some papers, and we're always looking to hopefully hire Franklin youth. So, but if anybody has any further questions about the pool or youth rec, anything, our meeting is next week, so we invite everybody to join.
And that will be where?
It's at the Village Hall, still upstairs.
Question, would you want to have it at the town hall?
Um,
The town sheds, I mean, it's handicap accessible, it's available if you'd like to use it, let us
Okay.
know.
Okay, we appreciate the offer. Currently, we don't have anybody that, people that regularly come to the meeting don't need handicap accessibility. However, it's always nice in case there's a guest.
We've got parking,
Right.
lighting, it's,
Yeah,
if you'd like to use it, it would be, I would think we could make it available.
okay, thank you. Yeah, all of our, office stuff and printer and everything is right there at Village Hall, so it's a convenience thing for us as well. But I can definitely put that out at the meeting next week.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Planning board meets Thursday night. I didn't make the last meeting, there was nothing that, nobody came to the planning board last month. I guess that's all to say on that. We are doing a phone conference with the USDA tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. The town sheds with the engineer and a few of the board members. I got a hold of Congressman Delgado's office, and he is, Madison from his Delhi office has put this together so we can have a telephone conference to find out what grants or funding can be done on a new building from the USDA. They have supposedly money is available, the low interest loans, I don't know, and grants that go together. I'm not sure how much grant money there'd be. He said the last time he knew the interest rate was 2.75% interest on the money. If we're done with the business here, I guess we can open the meeting up, because I'm sure that's probably one of the, what do we call, hot topics.
Jeff?
Yes.
I just had a comment to make. I'm sure everybody is aware of the articles that came out in the paper a few weeks ago. And I just want to make a comment on them. I didn't see them for a while. I didn't see them as soon as they came out, but I was a little bit dismayed. It almost seemed like a foregone conclusion as to what the paper was going to say. They had an art, in case you aren't aware, they had an article in the paper that outlined concerns that certain people had about the building, and there were things in that article that were not in fact true. I'm not going to go through the complete article, but there were a number of things that just weren't so. And then from that article, they jumped to an opinion piece. So they took an article that they wrote, and from that article, they went in and put out an opinion piece on what was wrong with the way that the town has addressed all of the issues with regard to potential of new buildings. I just thought I would just bring that out and hope that people would look at things in perspective. It's very easy to draw conclusions and say things in a vacuum, but I think I won't say it goes without saying, but I can tell you that all of us have been working very hard on getting things to move ahead. And as I said, comments that were made in there, some of them were just blatantly false. And then to go from that to, you know, go through an accusatory, in our opinion piece was, I thought, pretty poor. So I just wanted to make that comment for the record. And I hope people will, again, just consider that they need to really look at these things closely before drawing any conclusions about what is really going on. So.
Thank you, Dwight. Yep. Okay, I guess we can open it up to,
Yep, I'd like to, along the lines that Dwight was just speaking of, I'd like to start by saying I find it hard to believe that after what our town has been through in the past month or so, with animal cruelty plastered across the Daily Star, that the person who wrote this opinion section article found the humor in poking a pig. That may be an old country saying, but one that has no place in discussing business related to the town of Franklin. All the commotion in this article is over a piece of property the board purchased for a new building that some in our community have demanded for years. This gang has went so far as to have their own plans drawn up exactly the way they wanted it to look. In the past, the clerk and court building on Main Street has been condemned by the town's fake newspaper of being inadequate. So let me get this straight. The board buys property that adjoins the current town property to build a new building, and that's no good. Seems like the same bunch of folks in this town will never find good in what our board members do. To the board members, I say great job behind the smart purchase that will make our town more accessible and safer for everyone. As for the septic, foundation, and well, who would spend the amount of money discussed for a new building and not removed all the items in question? It's a small price to pay to have the peace of mind that everything is new, safe, and up to code. As for the driveway, I've been to planning board meetings, and there's been a representative from the county that I'm sure will work with the town to configure a new driveway that will be pleasing and safe to all concerned. As for the work on a new driveway, Franklin is blessed with an impressive highway department that's more than capable of building an excellent driveway. For goodness sakes, they build roads every day. Also, as plans are looked into for this new building, I would like to ask the board to look into moving the post office to any new building that might be built. And any revenue that may be paid by the post office would be a welcome contribution to our town. In closing, it's time to let our board members, elected by the people of Franklin, to do their job. Why would anybody think that the best interest of our townspeople is not at the top of their list is beyond me. Thank you, that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Bob. Okay, we have another, anybody else?
Me?
Okay.
I just want to address Mark. I was wondering if we could, in fact, get some dirt this year for our property. It always goes to the same neighbor every year. We're told that they have first dibs on it. When you do the roads, can we get some more dirt this year?
We've done ditching up there.
Do what?
I'm just asking my deputy
Oh.
if we're done up there. If we're done up there, probably not.
What do you mean?
I recall bringing you quite a bit of dirt when I was there.
last year, I believe, so.
Not that much, but every year they said Dave Terry got first dibs on it. And he got a lot of dirt.
We try to spread it around where we can, so.
First
Is he
off,
getting
the
first
safety of
dibs?
the trucks.
Okay,
We
but
can't
is-
get backed into some place where we're gonna tip a truck over.
No, I understand
Bury a
that.
truck, I'm not
Right.
coming.
Right.
That's number one.
Right.
And he could come back, just
I
a
took
minute,
both
Pete,
of them, yeah,
just a minute. He come back to me and asked me about some of that, and I said, if it's gonna be a problem backing into some of those places where you want it, I just assume we don't do that.
I understand that, yeah.
Okay? We have to look out for septics and stuff
Absolutely,
like that.
absolutely. No,
And I did say safety first.
no
Right?
problem. Yeah,
I don't want to get hurt. I worked in construction, so I worked in the high rises. I seen a lot of accidents happen. I seen guys get burnt by bus ducks and stuff on the job.
So if we're back up there, yes. If we're not, I mean, we got a lot of other ground to cover. Try to do
so
this
is
again.
that not a given that you come every year and fix the roads? What do you mean?
Yeah, come and grade the road.
Yeah.
But I don't always
You
ditch
don't always
it.
ditch it.
Oh, I see, okay.
I know it's a little rough, but these roads are getting ridiculous. I'm getting phone calls, people breaking windshields. My daughter just spent 2 rims, $800 for 2 rims. aluminum
It's
rims.
all over. It's all over. It's in our
Can
farm
we-
driveways, every
Is there
town
anything
has
that
it.
we
It's
Can
been
we
that way.
try to do something with signatures and get some grants and get these roads? You know, it's not horse and buggy anymore, rest in peace, George Osborne used to say. You know?
Here's the way it goes, okay?
But we want to help, we don't want to blame nobody.
Plain and simple. Money.
Yeah.
Costs
Can we
money.
get grants and get these roads done?
Now, we get some grants already, and we're trying to disperse them, you know, through the CHIPS program and stuff, where we're trying to pave them and trying to upkeep them and stuff. One of the things that you have to remember is, we've got the least amount of population for the amount of roads that we've got, and that's covering Broome County, Chenango County, Otsego County, Delaware County, Schoharie, and Greene County. We have a 106-mile road, and we have 2,400 residents, okay? Not all 2,400 of those pay taxes. You know, you got like 1 in 4 that pay taxes out of it,
That's why
okay?
I'm saying
So
we
we're
need
trying to
some
do the best we can with the money that we get, okay? And that's some of the reason that we're paving them, because some of that expense goes away. As far as coming in, and no offense to this, but as far as coming in and trying to blacktop a dead-end road, that's not gonna happen.
Are there any portions that could be done because of potholes every year, even when you come and you grade it? Within 2 weeks,
Yeah,
there's
well,
potholes there.
one of the reasons the potholes come back, everybody thinks it's a drainage issue and this and that, and it's not. It's a traffic problem. Back before, I use Jeff's home up there. Back when I first come to work here, their whole family, 7 people in that family, they had 2 vehicles, okay? They had the farm truck and they had the station wagon. Everybody got on the bus to come to school. Now you go up there, how many people is on top of that hill and each one of them drives 2 cars?
Oh, yeah.
So that's where that is, and like, just like up where you are, it used to be the Finches were up there, Einstetters, they come off the hill about once a week. And once a day to take the milk. So the traffic's what increase that. You see all these minefields of potholes, that's traffic, that's not because of the drainage. And we tried, that's why we're out with the graders all the time, trying to cover 63 miles of dirt road.
I mean, I'd be willing to reach out or try to get money. I mean, is there anybody that you could lead me to, some sort of senator or something, or some agency?
You can try it, but we all try it. We have an association, our county has an association I'm in. We also have the state association that we're in. Right now, we don't even know if we're gonna get our $250,000 for CHIPS this year. Because we have a governor that thinks he needs to spend it on stuff that doesn't amount to crap.
Well, exactly when I'm gonna get it, because I see all the money going to Binghamton and going to Oneonta. You're talking about millions of dollars, and you hear it, it's on the news, it's all over the place. And they're spending it foolishly. Here, people need roads fixed, they can drive and go to work.
It's not so much
And he
as
gets
foolish.
taxes every time you go out the door, you all know that, we're all working people.
This is my opinion only. It's not that they're spending money foolishly. It's just, those grant monies, $10 million come into Otsego County. You know where that money went? Private individuals, private places. There was places where one of the stores in Oneonta got grant money, and then they folded up their business.
I could tell you who.
I know who it is too, probably everybody else here. So that's where the foolish stuff goes, you know, but to do the infrastructure, and you hear it all the time, everybody talking about our infrastructure in this state, it's pretty poor. Because we don't have the money coming back to us.
Break it short. All the politicians say, we need infrastructure. You see them building bridges that I grew up in.
Right.
The Kosciuszko Bridge. I was there, I was on it.
You know, the infrastructure, I think.
The
has been-
Triborough Bridge became, the Trisineck Bridge, Tappan Zee Bridge became Como Bridge. You know, it needed to be done. I know that I used to go over
Well,
it.
population gets the money.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
if we don't clean, and we give too.
Yeah, we do, and I agree, but, you know, the roads have been not funded properly for years.
I'm not blaming nobody
Underfunded.
here for not doing their job.
Underfunded.
They work hard,
Wasn't
but
there a
it's-
surge the last couple of years?
I wanna
in real
help you,
estate?
I don't wanna hurt.
Wasn't there a surge of real estate transactions the last couple of years in Franklin, when you said about declining population? It seemed like it was really a hot market, no? The last
Probably
couple
as
of
good
years.
as any market, whether it was a hot
Really?
market or not.
The other thing you need to think about, folks, is for, I don't know how long, the state thought 2% is
Yeah.
all that we should go up, right, Jeff? I mean, that's been how many
That's
years now,
state,
guys?
county, yeah.
Now, years ago, when my dad sat as supervisor, he went a few years, I think it was 3. Am I right, Paul? Never raised the town taxes one bit. The auditor stepped in and let it be known that you should go 3% every year to make sure that you're holding your township in good financial status and taking care of things. Now, the governor is well aware of that. Steps in and expects all of us to hold 2%. Now, it's easy for him to do that because he dumps the cost down on the counties. But it's hard as a township, we went 2% for a long time, right? I mean, every time since, right, Jeff? I mean, I do believe we're right
We've
close
kept
to
under the
it.
cap, yes, we
So
have.
we've technically, over all them years, by what that auditor said, well, fell 1% behind in trying to make
Right.
everything go. Which, what's the solution to it? I mean, we're not a huge community, we're not a rich community, you know? Not to make any excuses, but by the same token, if we went above 2%, we'd hear about it, you know? So, I think that's gonna come to a point one of these days where we can't comply because we can only play the game so long, sadly. But it's
Right. Well,
the
it's a-
truth, I
You know,
mean,
just like,
it's stressed everyone's budget, I mean.
last year, or actually for the start of this year, I believe, the governor took away the 2% percentage that he gave towns and made the county take it out of the county sales tax receipts to give the towns that 2%, which is, it was $300,000 to $400,000 that, you know, basically came out of the county budget to fulfill the town budgets, that 2%. And it's just, you know, government is expensive, people want service is expensive. And no matter how we go, you know, the taxpayers overall are gonna pay for it. And we're just like, and I just go back to farmers, we're at the bottom of the heap and everything comes down to us. And the towns are at the bottom of the heap. You know, the counties get stuff, the state, you know, the state can't pay for it, they, you know, cut funding. There's talk now with Medicare being funded differently. And at the DSS committee meeting, they said it could be anywhere from $500,000 to $3 million difference in the DSS budget on what Cuomo wants to kick down. And if that's a $3 million, where's the county come up with that money? When the state had been paying it, well, this is a fund that the state doesn't want to pay. So where they're gonna pass it on? They're gonna pass it on to the next level down. And what the county can't do, they're gonna pass it down to the towns too. I'm sorry, it's just a, you know, vicious cycle. It's either taxes are gonna go up or your services are going down, one or the other. And people don't wanna give up services. And I'm not, yes,
Individual Medicaid providers' payments across the state went down 1%. Automatic reduction in payment. That just happened within the last month. So it's happening everywhere.
it's happening, yeah, it is. I mean, it's just, it's the evil part of it. You know, and I agree, the roads, and it's amazing, potholes can come right in the level of spot on the road, there's no water around. We had one on Heathen Hill, you know, it started out a little hole. Well, every time it rains and the car drives over it, there goes dirt out of that hole, the hole gets bigger.
Speed
It's,
control.
Well, Yeah, speed bumps, yeah, but, it is tough on vehicles, there's no doubt.
Right.
But we also gotta drive to the road conditions more than we do. Everybody's in a hurry, I'm just as bad as anybody is, I'm not saying, you know, everybody's in a hurry to get everywhere. And that 5 miles an hour or 10 miles an hour makes a difference between a bump and a hole.
Right.
Yes.
I don't drive up that much, but now we have a kid that goes to work 7 days a week.
Yeah.
You know, she
Oh, I
works 7
agree.
days a week, 24/7.
Yeah.
Okay? She's a hard worker, goes to college.
Yep, yep.
And she doesn't need her car to get beat up to go to work.
I agree, but a lot of this is
But that's
speed
why I'm
related.
looking to get help, to help you guys,
know,
if
if-
we could get something
I
going.
mean, I always leave so I don't have any spare time. So I'm in a hurry most of the time. So that's my own fault. If I left 5 minutes earlier, maybe I could slow down 10 miles an hour until I got the better roads to make it up. But I understand, the society is moving way too fast. You know, when I grew up, if you went to Binghamton, it was the greatest thing in the world. Wow, was that special? Today it's a whim.
And you took Route 7, not
And you
88.
took, and that's right. But I mean,
No,
but, you know,
88.
it's, now it's, you know,
Right.
go to Binghamton is not a big deal anymore.
It's
Which
not that
is,
much there anymore either.
well, no.
Things going out too.
but it's our society, it's moving so fast. And the speed factor is a lot of it. The cars are smaller, so maybe they spin a little bit more. I'm not sure if you can blame it on the cars or what, but I know the speed factor, there's always been fast cars, but the whole traffic moves so fast anymore. And on dirt roads, you're spinning out of the stone, you got a pothole. That is physics or
And the
whatever.
worst part is when it thaws out and the car starts to go by itself. Of course,
And
then-
I agree, I live on a
You
dirt
have
road.
cars that cost a lot of money now, they
I
don't cost
have,
$3,000,
I
$4,000.
don't, no, I don't have
go down
blacktop
the
in
road.
front of my house, I've got dirt road, both ways we go, it's dirt. And you,
I'm looking out for the whole community, I'm not looking out for myself.
I
If we could go
agree,
along,
but it's just the fact that
If we
it,
could come up with a number
it's
that we need, we
everybody.
could get it, we'll try.
if you want a number, Mark, you could just put zeros on how many? I mean, it's endless, I'm sorry.
I mean,
you know,
like we
can-
admitted that they're giving money away foolishly. For signage, I was there at the meeting in Oneonta, I saw it.
Right, oh, and
You know I get
I don't
around.
disagree.
You
I
know I
don't
get
disagree
around.
at all.
And like you said, the business folded
But
out.
it is just very unfortunate.
Yeah.
The squeaky wheel usually gets the grease, but sometimes it goes beyond the squeak. You know, it breaks down. I mean, I don't know, there's, you know, and the town is trying too to, you know, it's, you know, they're out there, you know, putting the small gravel and potholes and stuff like that, trying to smooth it out some, but every time a vehicle goes over that gravel disperses some. Well, in about 3 days, you got a pothole back. It's a Band-Aid,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure how we can surgically fix it.
Better weather's
And the
coming.
right way would be to pave it.
Yeah.
And then that's not, we need to find out how much it's gonna cost.
Okay.
And I'm
We
not
already
talking
know
about
what
just
it
Franklin, I'm talking about Fedwell.
Well,
And I'm talking about other counties too, they should widen up some of these roads, they're dangerous.
Well, actually, I think our county roads are as good as in our town of Franklin.
I'm saying
roads.
some of them in different counties, like
Yeah,
Camden
you know,
and stuff
yeah.
like that, they're narrow roads.
They're narrow
And a lot
roads.
of people won't use those back roads because they're narrow, they're gonna get into an
Yep,
accident.
but, you know, when you average, I think probably a conservative figure on blacktopping is $100,000 a mile. A conservative one. If we got 60-some miles, so you're talking
I'll have this,
$7 million.
that was broke pretty quick.
I mean, it's baffling, but it's a, you know,
You know, we hate
These
Band-Aids too,
numbers
but
are terrible.
Band-Aids don't get any, it's the
That's-
same thing, it's not, put a Band-Aid on it, same thing happens.
yeah.
We're all on the same page.
That's right, but the other side, the vicious side of it is, I built on a dirt road.
Right.
So it'd be great to have it paved, but you know what? I built on that dirt road, and that's what I expect to have. And deal with it, because there's not a good answer to it, that's a bad part. We can't give you a good answer. All we can do is say, you know, we feel sorry for you, you know, and it's something that we've got so many miles of dirt road,
So there's 60 miles of dirt road.
63
Well, I
miles
wanted
of
the
dirt
number,
road.
got the number.
You You know, so I mean, that doesn't count seasonal roads.
Right.
So you're talking,
You know, the poor mailman too, that's 100 miles a day.
Yep.
You know, I talk to him too, you know?
oh,
I feel bad for him.
but I
Drive through this-
realize he's probably knows where
And
most
probably
of
your
the
wife
potholes
too,
are.
you know?
So they'll swerve and miss.
They do
and-
their job, kind of, you know, that's what they're doing.
But, I mean, there's just no simple answer.
But we try to fix the problem, that's what we want
Yep,
to
and
discuss.
fixing the problem would,
That's what we get,
you
you
know,
know?
blacktop, but the cost of
Like I
it
said, I'm
is
not putting blame on
phenomenal.
nobody, because everybody's working hard to get things done.
You know, because we gotta maintain what we got, otherwise we lose the blacktop we got now, all of a sudden we get more dirt. So maintenance, I mean, blacktop is probably less service and stuff, but it will still cost a lot of money to maintain the blacktop roads we have, and we can't afford to lose them.
True.
Am I right, Mark?
Yes, they've changed the program, so it's a little less of a burden, but it does cost money. I mean, it costs money to do all that stuff.
Any of it costs money.
But, that part of the program was helped a few years ago, so.
If we can help in any way to, you know, make signatures or
Like I
something,
said,
reach
you know,
out.
the associations and everybody, all the different towns are always trying to get into the bank to try to get that money. And it's, like I said, with our population and stuff like that, they're gonna send the money to where it looks like they're doing more of a job. You know, that's why the higher population places get that money.
I put it out there too, because sometimes if we don't ask for it, we won't get it. That's why I'm putting it out there. You know, you do a lot of work that way too, so.
Well, Mark
If you
has
need
it.
our help, let us know.
Right.
That's where I want to leave it at.
Mark is part of the Town Supervisors Association, and I know they go to Albany and, you know, to try to keep the money they're getting. You know, they'd like to have more.
Where they
If you
worded
need help, you know, signatures and stuff, let us know.
That's where they worded
We'll back
that.
you up. You know?
Most of them.
That's what we're here for.
Just to give you an idea, just pulling out that money is somewhere around $735 million that he's gonna try to hold back. That-
And the other thing is, look, they took out all the toll booths, but they don't collect money. Where's all that money going? Come on. I used to make sure I used to pay it, so this way they keep the guy.
Well,
Good
you realize that's probably how government works, but lottery was put in to support education. And how much goes to education?
Why does it go?
That is needed, and it needs to be looked at first.
Right, but, I mean, they found a home. The same thing with Social Security, all those things that were well-funded at one time, well, there's so much in there, we can use it somewhere else. And, I mean, it's just, it's part of the monster that's out there. And we, you know, and if we can, you know, fix it somehow, I don't know how you fix it. You know, signatures aren't gonna hurt, but,
Well,
know,
I'm
there's a
saying
lot
if
of
we need
people-
backup, we'll back you up.
right,
you know.
right, yep.
That's what we're here for. We need signatures, we need people to talk people in Albany and stuff.
Right,
We'll help, you know?
okay,
It's our backyard, your backyard.
okay. Is there anything else?
Jeff, I
Yes.
have, another thing I wanted to bring up was possibility, like the board to consider this in the near future, of working on a polling station in Treadwell.
Okay.
The possibility of maybe getting a voting machine and reestablishing Treadwell as a voting site. So I think we're just kind of overwhelmed with the situation in Franklin, everybody trying to vote down there. And we've had one
There used to be
in Treadwell in the
Treadwell,
past.
yeah.
And if we can do that, unless there's a reason that somebody's aware of why that can't happen, I think we should be looking at it. I think it would pull some of the pressure off us as far as space in the building, as well as convenience, and encourage people to vote. Maybe can't get down to Franklin.
But didn't they do that in pretty much every township? They pulled them all back in to one
There's,
location.
in Delaware County, I think there's maybe 6 townships that still have more than one place to vote. City Center does, Downsville does, I have a list of them, I can show it to you, Mark. But I know that's been pushed, I don't know where it's coming from, but
I think if we can do it, I think it would be a great thing. I think it would be good for Treadwell, plus it would make things a little bit less congested in Franklin, you know.
Well, it shouldn't be any different, I know, like that Colchester thing is because they get down to Cooks Falls and stuff like that. What's different than Treadwell to Franklin?
Right.
That's same amount of distance, basically.
It can be accommodated, I think it's worth looking into.
yeah, I mean, I don't know about everybody else, but I know when I go to the voting station in Franklin, it just seems cramped. You know, you don't, yeah, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, plus the community is aging, they, you know, some of them can't code,
Absolutely.
there's the other answer to give, to help out, to get it.
As long as it would be supported by the, you know, by the county and everybody involved. I mean, I looked into the rules and regulations on it. It seemed to me that it's supposed to be a concerted effort between the town board and the county in order to get some, you know, something like that accomplished. So I don't know what everybody else thinks on the board, but
I think it'd be great if we could have Treadwell back there.
so I think it would have benefit from a lot of angles.
Do you think they would let them do it here?
You know, that's a possibility. I spoke to the Kellogg Foundation and
It's
I
an
think
option.
yeah, it looks like it could very well be. I don't want to speak for everybody there, but it looks like that might be able to work. So if we can do something as far as a machine goes, because I don't think the county is willing to, at least the people I spoke with, is willing to or has the money to buy another machine. That would be great. I did put a couple phone calls out to some people in at the federal level and also at the state level. I got a call today from Anthony Delgado's office, and they can't do anything at the state level. So, you know, we're not going to be able to get any support there. They understand the problem, but there's nothing that they can do. So hopefully we can maybe get some support from some other places, but I don't think we want to be pushing that if we're going to get blowback from, you know, other forces out there. I don't know why they would, but it changed once, so.
Full-time
20
residents?
2,411 people.
Is that including
Last
Treadwell
census.
also?
Huh?
Is that including Treadwell also?
Yes, it is.
And what's the enrollment in the school in Franklin?
275.
Shrinking.
Well, we're becoming
I think, isn't there about 400 voters in Treadwell's? I heard that.
Check up there,
It's about
yeah.
400.
There's how many total registered in the town?
Oh,
Nearly
gosh.
1,300.
Neighborhood 1,600.
1,800, yeah. Yep. That's- Okay, anything else come before the board?
Just a quick question in terms of, where are you in terms of the building? You're looking at the site, somewhere's on the site, is that still?
Well, we're looking at right behind the cell
Yeah,
tower.
that's what I thought, yeah.
And it's 0.86 acres. So it keeps under the 1 acre minimum for bees, for runoff and stuff. I think what we've talked is, you know, and I said back July or whatever last year, you know, initially we wanted to see if we could find buffer behind the town buildings. And I think that's probably what our plans are gonna be. I mean, you're talking, you know, you are talking $750,000 on the estimate of this building. It's a 2,500 square foot building. It's crazy money, there's no doubt about it. But I think what we can, I think Mark agrees with this too, and, you know, is, you know, absorb 10 to 12 acres into the town, the existing town, where the town building is and stuff. And then the other 2 lots, if we're not gonna use them, we can put them back on the market. And I think it'd be a, you know, we could probably, hopefully recoup our money. You know, so, you know, the big thing is having the buffer behind the town sheds.
Behind the sheds, you do have, not level, but not as steep as the hill.
Right, right, and access, you know, where, and that's where I'm talking with the county on Thursday morning about site distance and stuff. You know, so we, you know, right now we're planning one access, that's between the cell tower and Delhi Telephone Company to the proposed new town offices. And eventually we were thinking, you know, we could have access off of 21 behind the town sheds and stuff. You know, and just see if there is site distance there for it or not. It says there is on this paper, but I want the county to say, yes, there is. Because without their sign off, it doesn't mean anything.
And depending how you site your building, you know,
Right.
a long way with the hill,
Right.
extended to the hill.
I mean, the project has enlarged from the onset of it. It's almost twice what we originally talked.
Original, when it was gonna be added on to the.
And the dollar figure is
Twice.
sizable. Far more than I anticipated that we would be endeavoring. I think we are running into a time crunch again, but I think it's wise on our part to not rush into these things. I took the liberty to speak with the museum, and they have no issue with letting us continue to use that building. But we do need to sit down and talk a little bit, some of us, because it is a pretty good deal for us to utilize it the way it is now, but with them and being their part of the community, they would like to negotiate something as far as when we use it, as far as an offset to expenditures to keep the building going. So with that being said, you know, there is an option there, whether if it comes into a financial situation, I feel, or a situation of a time crunch, to, you know, because we've still got obstacles to leap. And I don't want to build a gym with 3 posts in it again either. So that has made it an opportunity, and I think we should sit down and try talking with them and see where we're going with that, because my understanding is they have no intentions of removing us from it. So I think it would be wise for us to at least keep the option open.
So it comes down to who's gonna maintain and.
I mean, yeah, you gotta work out, I mean, we need to sit down with the board and talk with them and, you know, and go that route. But my understanding, you walk through it and the house is in better condition than what we were led to believe. So with that, and John did express to me that they have no intentions of destroying the building. So with that, it is there. So it leaves us at least with an opportunity to make use of it until we can feel comfortable with what we're doing with this project. I mean, I think it's important that we don't rush into things. Definitely want to move forward, but to say we got to do it yesterday could put us in a bad situation, I feel. So.
Money is tight.
And it's not gonna get any.
And it's not easy,
Gonna
and it
get
doesn't
any
get
better in
easier.
the short run. or
They're looking
long.
to cut back all the time. So we really have to think it up.
And that's what we're
Trying to,
getting some
and that's what we're
numbers
doing.
together and, you know, other avenues and see what kind of grants could be out there to help us. But do we wanna build something that's not as big as we'd like to have and have to add on to it later on? The smart thing is probably to build it. Nothing, I mean, I don't think you can ever build anything too big. Because you always fill it up, no matter what it is. But, you know, it's.
But with that being said, we also are trying to be diligent about the taxes, because like I expressed earlier, and I think we all know that there's always things that need to be addressed and taken onto. So it's something that we don't want to make a shell shock or too deep of an impact, you know, so try to cover as many avenues as we can and look at as many options as we can. And move forward in the best direction, hopefully we can, you know. I agree, a very nice, safe building is wonderful, and I'd like to make it so it's accommodate our needs for several years. I mean, the structure we got there right now has been a wonderful building. But along with that, we are concerned about our taxpayers and how much it's gonna impact their tax roll, because we're well aware of, well, we'd like to do more with roads, or we just, general things that have to be, that cost money. So it's a burden for all of us, so.
We pay tax too. And you don't have to be listening to the news very often to get a good grasp on what's happening in the state of New York with regard to fiscal issues and kind of the trickle-down effects of what's happening in Albany and large metro areas. It's going to impact us.
And how many people are leaving?
Yeah, exactly.
Back in the day.
That's just because of the weather.
When they couldn't pay the people that worked for the police department, sanitation and stuff. I worked for Rudin Management, and they came up with that, they said, well, we can't move the buildings. So they prepaid the taxes so they could pay the city workers. And my ex-boss was involved in that, Rudin Management, Jack Rudin was involved in that. And Clinton was in on that committee back then, yeah. If you go back and see it. I happened to watch a documentary about the Rudins, where they started business and everything, and they went into it. So that's where I know from.
The old
And I also worked for them.
property line behind the Horn Highway building, how far away from the building was that? Or how close were we?
About 25
About
feet.
25 feet. That was what we had to work with.
And that was,
Yeah, the closest place I was right at the back of the building, out where the Delhi Hotel's got their thing. It was all,
And that complex continues to grow. We need more room for that.
and now behind the old building there, it's right to the corner of that.
Right at the corner of the upper shed.
Yes.
Okay, is there any more questions for the board?
I'd make a motion to adjourn.
I second it.
Thank you very much.